PDF files. The answer is out there.
The Microsoft Fabric Certification Podcast with Kevin and Frank.
Episode 13. The Mask Falls for One.
I have a question. Your organization uses Microsoft Fabric for data warehousing and has implemented dynamic data masking to protect sensitive information in the employee data table. The table includes columns such as employee ID, first name, last name, SSN, and email. You need to ensure that only authorized users can view unmasked data while others see masked data according to the defined rules. What action should you take? Select only one answer. A. Create a role with select permission on employee data. B. Grant unmask permission to authorized users. C. Modify masking rules to allow more data visibility. D. Use a custom masking function to control access to unmasked data.
Hey Kevin, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. Frank, what about yourself?
Fantastic, thank you very much. So, we got another question, and this time it has nothing to do with pipelines. How cool is this?
It makes a nice change, to be honest.
Yes. So, we did a lot of pipelines last weeks. So,
Yeah.
Okay, this one is about dynamic data masking. So, can you please explain what this is? It's about dynamic, it's about masking, and it's about data. So, what do I have to think about this?
It's basically a way that you can, a method that you can use to obfuscate, which is a posh way of saying hide, certain parts of results that you get from queries that you do in Microsoft Fabric Data Warehouse. So, for example, somebody could do a select statement against a column that's got a personal identifiable information, also known as PII, like a credit card number, a social security number, etc. And part of the results would actually be anonymized to the viewers.
Yeah.
Now, behind the scenes, the data would still, I want to stress, it doesn't encrypt that sensitive information. It just hides it back from the results from the people who you have defined these functions against that are able to view that information, but have the results hidden or masked, basically. And that's what makes it dynamic, because you're working with functions to identify who to mask certain parts of the results from.
Okay, and okay, understood. So certain people are not allowed to see certain information, right? And then this information is masked away. Okay, understood this. And another thing, Kevin, you might tell me for me to understand this. When I access the warehouse, and I can access the warehouse through the SQL endpoint, right? By any tool of my liking, like Excel, like Power BI, like Management Studio. So the data masking, for which of these tools is it in place?
It's in place for all of them. It's based on the permissions of the user. So you have the functions in place to identify the user, and it goes, okay, well, this is doing it in the context of the user, in this case, Frank, because do you want Frank to see your social security numbers?
I don't want Frank to access the database at all, but anyway.
That's a different question, surely. So it would mask the results back from that column still view, because it runs a function behind the scenes to check.
Okay, so even if I connect directly to the database via SQL Server Management Studio, and if I directly write a query with select from table, then I would not see the data that I'm not allowed to see.
Yeah, if you're running it in your own permission context, yes.
Yeah. I only know my own permission context to access the database anyway, so I don't know any other context. So. Okay, yeah, well, okay, cool. Now, as we understood what data masking is all about, now let's think about, so what is our task? So what shall we do? So we need to ensure that only authorized users can view unmasked data while others see masked data according to the defined rules. So, well, this is exactly what you explained, Kevin. So this is what data masking is all about, right? Okay, so let's think about what actions shall we take here. So first of all, answer A is about create a role with select permission on employee data. Employee data is the table that we want to secure. So can we do this?
Well, to be honest with you, everybody will need to select permissions to that table anyway. So for me, it's not really an answer, because whether it's masked or unmasked data, everybody still needs an answer to it. Everybody still needs to run a select statements about it. So it's kind of a moot point. And in this case, the ask is just to unmask the data.
Exactly. And so the thing is, if we don't have the select permission on this table, we cannot see any data in this table, not only the masked data, but we cannot just see any data. Okay, so I guess that A might be not correct on this. Okay, so let's think about B, grant unmask permission to authorize users. Could this be the case?
I'll stop laughing, stop chuckling to myself. And
yeah.
So this basically allows certain individuals to be able to view the full original data in a particular column.
Okay.
So I think it's safe to say that this is the answer for this particular question. But let's look at the other two answers still as well.
Yeah, well, we might learn something on the way. Okay, let's have a look at C. Modify masking rules to allow more data visibility. Can we talk a little bit about this? So what is this?
Yeah, so this is where you would actually show a bit more of the actual results.
Yeah.
However, you probably don't want to do this, especially for things like credit card numbers, etc., which is another topic altogether, if I'm honest with you. You would show too much effectively of the actual value, and you have to ask yourself, where do you draw the line in the masking involved and the type of masking you're doing on the data as well. So if you're only masking, for example, 1 or 2 characters in the results, you're kind of defeating the purpose of masking in the first place. So for me, obviously, I would rule this out.
Yeah, me too. But I can give you a good example where this might make sense. So think about emails. So you have this table and there is a column and there are many email addresses in there, right? And probably what you don't want to do is that developers will see all of this email, because this is personal identifiable information, right? So, but probably another task could be, okay, I want to know how many people from which domain come to my website or something like that. What I could do in this case is I could have the mask the way that it only masks the first part of the email until the @ sign. So I don't know what the exact name of the person or the exact email address of the person is. But what I can see is I can still see the domain, and then I can do something like, for example, a group and account. So I can know, okay, there are so many people coming from, for example, the ffiles.show, right? And there are so many people coming from the ffiles.com or something like this, right? So this makes sense.
On a very unrelated note, Frank, by the way, and this may give away my response to this particular idea. After all of this, can you create for me a Power BI report which shows in a nice visualized way the different domains from where everybody is coming from, please, so I don't have to query the original source data? Can you see what I'm getting at here for the way that you would actually work instead to get that information? So yeah, you can do it that way, but obviously there are workarounds. It may not be the best thing to do anyway if you're working with the medallion architecture, etc., etc. It is a good example, I grant you that, but in the real world, it may be other ways that you would do it.
Sure. And as always, there are the same problem. Mostly there are many solutions for this. Some are good, some are not so good, but there are always many solutions to do stuff like this.
Yeah. Anyway, we better cover very quickly the final question here.
Yeah.
A custom masking function to control access to unmasked data. This only really controls, again, the characters are the way the characters are masked in the return. It doesn't influence them being unmasked at all.
Yes.
So bear that in mind. So this is incorrect in this particular case.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it. I
Great.
think we know what the answer is.
Exactly. The answer is B, grant unmasked permission to authorize users, which makes perfect sense, right? Awesome. So we uncovered another mystery. and we got the right answer here as well. So anything else you would like to add to this?
You covered everything at this moment in time, to be honest with you.
Awesome.
One thing, because just to make sure everybody listening is aware, make sure you all cover the recommended Microsoft Learn material for this exam relating to data warehouses, because this is covered in that material. In addition, other topics relating to data warehouses that you need to know about as well, the various other types of, well, the various levels of security, etc. Make sure you go through all of it.
Yeah, and it's always not only for the exam, it's always good to know about security. And it's not always good only to know about security, but also to implement it, right? Okay, so that said, well, I think for this episode, we are done. So thank you very much for listening. And yeah, well, we will love to see you in the next episode as well, right? And beware, some unmasked data might be out there. So bye-bye.
Thanks all. Bye.